Wait, I heard it. No?
Because I just turned things back on.
Oh no. Oh. This is why we are very tired. Apparently,
we're okay.
Just an hour-long show muted.
This is fine. Oh my god.
Amazing. Why was it muted?
Because I have things muted out when we're starting, so when we're chatting while the top screen is up, we don't say anything.
Oh, you never unmuted us.
I never hit the button. I forgot to hit the button. I didn't notice.
And I had this volume too low to realize it.
Yeah.
So we just did an hour-long show.
God.
Oh god, this is the goddamn fucking cursed episode. I don't. Maybe I'll hit that.
So you missed every single thing that happened. I'll go through it really quick, alright? This is an hour recap. Four Gardens board game. You like make art and collect things. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Nice art.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horde. It's a weird like quick card game thing. The cursed stuff adds like negative points. I don't know how it plays, but it's like a really quick, fast game. Not for 10+ people.
and also 999 of them are expensive.
Yeah. The Cthulhu one-shot thing. I can't spell the first one. It's like a German.
You work for Britain as a secret organization fighting Nazi occultists.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. We all liked it. The Monopoly. There's a D&D Monopoly. Everything was released. They talked about it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, then they removed it from their website mysteriously, as if maybe perhaps they released all this stuff early, or maybe something happened that they were forced to not release it. I don't know.
Yeah. Clue. There's a Dragon Ball Z Clue. It looks hilarious, and it's very memey in the fact that it's Dragon Ball Z, the Clue game. Your special abilities, it's kind of cool. We talked for like 40 minutes about Green Hell Kickstarter, which is a video game that they're making a board game out of, and it's a dice rolling one. Wow, we talked a lot about this and a bunch of other things that unfortunately you're not going to get because wow. Wow.
My soul has been destroyed.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take over the show for now.
I just wow.
Cursed episode.
Just gonna cut the first hour off.
It's the unfortunate thing that like we might have had lurkers who just mute things like Blaze, and he could have.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Okay.
We all slept totally.
All right. Let's no. Let's do it properly and just go quickly over 3 minutes on everything rather than 30 seconds, just to fucking summarize what the fuck we were doing.
Go.
That we were actually things. Four Gardens. It reminded me of the panda eating game whose name is Takanoko, plus the stupid game where you take a walk down a thing. Anyway, no, it's a pretty fun game. Anyway, yes, you're building a garden. It's got
nice.
It's got resource management. It's got point developing. Looks nice and interesting. It's something to check out. The cursed hordes of Fantasy Realms. Talked about it with Joe a billion years ago. It's a very simple, quick action card game. Apparently it's branded, so they put out something maybe to keep the license and the cursed items. Adds to it.
They're not as cursed as you think they are. They're
That's
actually like power cards.
That's the line that's needed. It's not as cursed as you think it is. They're actually power cards.
See, it's not cursed, unlike this episode.
This episode is indeed cursed, because I'm gonna have to figure out where the fuck volume was, cut off that entire thing of us not speaking, because I don't think I got it at all.
Oh no. I mean, I heard everything because I'm in a call with you.
I got the discussion, so
I don't know how to if I could.
I didn't even think about it because I just lowered the volume. I was like, I'm not muting it because
pretty much everything. I mean, you just have to look from like an hour and then just go back until you stop hearing audio.
Yeah, there was no audio the entire time. Not the entire time. Yeah.
So we started this episode with us memeing how none of us had had much sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows, because we've talked for an hour.
Yeah.
Muted.
Achtung, Cthulhu, you're going to, that's not Norway, it's Netherlands. Netherlands. That small village, fighting Nazis in, like, the Night Wolves.
Some terrible
They're
stuff.
doing, like, genetic manipulation or something, so you have to fight, like, super soldiers, advanced technology, mutants or something, and then evil Nazi scientists. Yeah, and also you have to worry about, like, fishmen coming up for vengeance because man has been messing with them, particularly probably the Nazis, you know, that an ancient race that's below the waters, so there's actually a third party involved. While you're, like, some kind of organization coming in on a submarine to this town, working for the Brits and their anti-Hitler occult thing. And also, the occult war was a real thing. We did mention that.
That was very real.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting and bizarre.
It's a thing that actually happened.
Because Hitler was crazy and went occult. And then Roosevelt's like, that seems stupid. But just in case... there's that, like, 0.0001% that there's something real that you find. Go get 'em, boys! And we're like, well, I don't think we're going to find anything, but we should probably stop them.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty bad.
Then there was the D&D Monopoly, which exists yet doesn't exist, where you're helping Volo and his guide to monsters by... going to
collecting
Monopoly.
Monster Girls.
Yeah, collecting Monster Girls.
Collecting Fox Girls who were previously what else?
That's for later.
That's later. We already talked about that was for later with the cursed stuff.
Yeah, the cursed and 1 hour first half. Just gone.
All the properties are monsters that you're collecting.
You're
the
just
monsters.
Pokemon, the D&D monsters.
It's the
So
Pokemon, the
when you
D&D
put a
monsters for
house
Monopoly
on a
version.
monster? What is that?
I
Is
don't-
it
Maybe rather than houses, it's like research or something. You know, I don't know.
Okay. So once you get 4 ticks of research, you can put a master research on it?
Sure,
Take
I'm
research.
guessing
Bankrupt
because again, USAopoly had the link up on their had it up on their website. You can technically find that link in Google. It's 404 on their website, and not only that, D&D Monopoly doesn't exist as an actual, like, rather than both the news announcement and the product thing have disappeared.
I was scrolled up. What are you waiting about there, Umber?
Probably
What?
the D&D Monopoly
Oh yeah, that's a thing. That eventually will
is the
come
thing.
Maybe. Wizards might have been like, nah.
The harem token.
That's a different board game.
That's the Monopoly board I'm designing.
Oh, and then
No. I can't
I will
remember.
not say that
I
game on
can't.
stream.
There's an anime. There's an anime that if they did a Monopoly version of it would be exactly that. And I can't remember the last name of it. It's like Monster Musume something or other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That.
Yeah. I'm not remembering. It's
Yeah, that's definitely a thing that happened
Yep.
in anime.
it is a thing that happened in anime.
Oh boy.
Anyway, then there was Clue, Dragon Ball Z Clue,
Which
which
sounds actually cool.
yes, where your player rather than being the murderer is the weapon because you're looking for the it's one of the Dragon Ball Z villains is trying to get the Dragon Ball. Where are they doing it at? And who can stop them? So you have to figure
who's
out
gonna go beat the crap out of
is
Frieza?
it Goku or is it gonna be Krillin? It's not gonna be
It's
Krillin.
obviously Krillin.
Obviously, I've seen the show. That's what happens, right?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would 100% be down to play Dragon Ball Z Clue. It
I would
sounds
look for the
so
memes.
good.
Sounds hilarious.
And then apparently they have like rumor cards, intrigue cards. I know one of those had been added in before. I don't know about the other one. And each player has a special power they can use once per game.
You don't understand the power of Dragon Ball Z.
Also, while reading the article, discovered there is a Dragon Ball Monopoly board just for you.
Yeah, there was a Dragon
there
Ball
is.
Monopoly board.
I may or may not have looked at like the info for number of players and saw 8+. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not how Monopoly works.
Did you do the thing that I did in the very beginning of the
Yeah.
thing?
Oh yes,
So,
Lightning
very-
saw 10 plus and was like, "That's a lot of players."
The very first thing we talked about was the Four Gardens board game, and I was looking at the art, and I'm like, "Wow, this looks really good." I scrolled down, and it has like the little art for like things, and it's a little person and a big person, and it said 10 plus, and I'm like, "Wow, 10 plus people is a lot." Oh no, that's ages 10 and up.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Mhm.
Wait a minute.
Because-
Probably people sounds like hell.
Mhm. But yeah, so there's also I think Dragon Ball Z chess that USAopoly is, but I think I described
Why?
USAopoly as
It's just chess.
the licensed horror of board game universe. Yeah, the licensing horror.
USAopoly is.
Can I just have every
The
piece be
lightning cord.
Goku and just I bring my chessboard, every piece is Goku in different outfits.
No, the pawns are all
represent-
Krillins.
Oh no, they're Yamcha. Excuse me, they are Yamcha.
That's true. That's true. You know what? You're right on that one. When you're right, you're right.
Yeah. Umber gets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I
your
have the
joke.
power of no stream delay.
We are 10 seconds.
Anyway, and then our last topic we talked about was Green Hell, the board game based on the video game that's going to be a Kickstarter that's coming soon, which is a crafting survival board game.
Which is weird.
Which is
but,
very
I mean,
weird.
I don't. care.
It's taking
Made
the
by the
plot
same
of the
devs.
video game and based off of the plot of the video game. Plot of the video game is a husband looking for his wife while lost in the jungle. There's also some tribes people. In the board game, you're a group of search and rescue who are apparently going in and surviving on their own to try to find him, which seems stupid because if you can bring in guns, why the hell are you
one
making
of the
bone
tokens
weapons?
legit just has a gun in their hand, but you roll to craft weapons.
Yeah. You gotta craft bone bullets. I made that.
Yes.
Yeah, the
So,
bone bullet joke. There
We
was a
made the joke
Mythbusters
that
tangent.
there's a Mythbusters tangent. We joked that they
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
should have, had their own plot line set in the same kind of world. It seems to be the same company that made the game. I
Or-
still thought the
or
game was
just-
in early access when it's in 2.0, things like that.
You know what? I think I know what's going on here. The game is still in active development. It's like technically released, but it's still in active development. I bet the board game is to add more content without trying to put more development time on the video game side. Yes, that's very upsetting. I can tell.
Ugh, sorry, sneezing.
Oh my god.
I mean, we did get into a tangent about survival games, like, we talked about Grounded, we talked about Raft, we talked about Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero, how Subnautica Below Zero is officially coming out a little later this month, and how Subnautica had a much better roadmap of, like, development to
What
their
they're gonna
1.0,
do.
while this game is probably similar to, like, something like Ark, where it had its 1.0, but it wasn't really maybe fully everything they wanted. And so they've roadmapped into other content now that they had their 1.0 as their story is out. You can complete
Yeah.
the game. Here's a bunch of extra stuff to make the game better if you want to replay it. It's
Yes.
technically finishable.
Technically, it's released.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
so
like-
we spent like 40 minutes talking about that.
Yeah.
You'll never get to hear. any
No.
of it. You
I
see
mean,
it.
we can
I'm
go into
sorry.
some, like, again, I can give that summary of the tangents that I think, like, Subnautica's team did it better and they're doing Below Zero, and maybe they'll do a multiplayer now because they want to do the multiplayer from the ground up if they're going to do it.
Oh, it's almost released.
It is almost released.
Right.
It's going to be coming out mid-May, like the 14th, which it was almost done when I played through it. Like, I gotta be honest, like, the last bit was just the ending. That's all they didn't have when they played it. Like, you get to, like, the part where you're like, I have done this major story moment beat thing. Now what? Oh, wait, there's nothing.
It was kind of on purpose though, because they didn't want people to like see the full ending until the game was released.
No,
Which
makes
I can
sense.
understand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, that,
I will say, if it does get multiplayer, no.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was the
When we
unfortunate
talked
thing
about
that
the error
they did have a unofficial
multiplayer.
multiplayer in the original Subnautica, but you have to be able to host your own server.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing, and it's like kind of glitchy and derpy, but that's like every game that you try and add multiplayer to.
Yeah. I mean, except for like Stardew Valley, which we were talking about how 1.5 was a really good thing, and that the
Yeah, I was so surprised by that. I still think their multiplayer needs work because there's not enough time in the day when you play multiplayer. Because the thing that when you play by yourself is time pauses a lot. So you could spend an hour or more in one day when realistically one day is just whatever every 10 minutes is like 3 to 5 seconds or something.
Yeah.
So the days pass by really quick in multiplayer, so you have to be constantly moving and going, and it kind of takes away that like play at your own pace or whatever, because you literally can't, because the game clock never stops.
Yeah.
The server host can do a command to pause the game, but that pauses it for everybody. So unless you're playing like, okay, random muted phone call. So you can pause it, but everyone is paused, and you have to like text chat, which is not really great. So if you were all in voice chat, I think it'd be okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I've seen people talk about that. Like, I don't have any problem with the time, but to me, it feels like why it doesn't, because it doesn't hurt anybody to add a feature where you can have either a less time or more time. Actually, no, maybe not less time, but like more time. Because if people like this normal gameplay, they don't change the time. There's other people that like, I wish I had more time to play this, because it's a single player game, or it's a game you play exclusively with people you invite. So it's not like it's a competitive MMO or a shooter or arena.
I think it's the idea that like Umber's right. I think like it's you have to get used to it because it's a different way of playing Stardew. There's certain things you can't do and certain things you can do. Like you know, and I think that's why like maybe larger groups are better in that case.
Definitely, larger groups are
because
better.
then those issues are less likely. Yeah, because
when it's just like you and one other person, there's just too much stuff to do.
Yeah, because you don't have that pausing. While if you have 3 or 4 people, you have other people to make up for it. You know.
Yeah.
Like
you get your one person to do all the farming, someone to do the fishing, someone to do the mining, and then the 4th person steals all the men and women.
And then you switch off at some point in time.
Yeah, Tantus is player 4.
Look, I'll have to go get some fishing done and some farming done and some mining done just to make sure that I can steal all those men and women.
Oh, and yeah. I never would argue the fact that having more people makes you have so much money and stuff, because you go from having 1 energy bar to 4, and you can recover it by just hanging out in bed and chilling instead of like eating food or whatever. Like, I don't think it's unbalanced. I think when you have less people, it is less balanced, because I feel like it might have been intended for. Oh no.
I thought we already had like the F word in chat here.
No, you.
But no, it was filthy. Filthy fucker. It was apparently the new combination there.
Yeah. Rude.
So.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. It's allowed for you to curse off Automod.
Now it's allowed for everyone. Oh, jeez. I get the privilege of seeing what things get auto-modded because I'm a mod.
And it just pops up and you're like, that's really
like, do I want to allow this?
I'm just like, I will not be silenced. You weren't. I allowed it. Stop complaining.
Yeah, Tantus allowed everything. I was just like, well, if Tantus wants to allow that.
I mean, that's it's not. There are certain comments I certainly will not allow. But, you know, just
I have unfortunately been in a situation where a phrase was mentioned using a certain word, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to allow that. And so the streamer clearly saw that I was like, I don't know if I want to allow this word, and then banned it. And then I proceeded to get private messaged by the person who had the word band, who, called me like, what's the thing where they insult you for being male? Yeah, that was a really fun day for me when I did not do anything. Thanks.
When you weren't the one that did it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Because streamers can do it too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had a very interesting discussion about the Green Hell Kickstarter and how, I mean, great if the company felt they were successful at their video game and want to do a board game version of it. A survival crafting specific board game, not a lot of them. I said Who Goes There, which is The Thing, basically, The Thing, John Carpenter's movie. It's the original short story. That board game was a survival crafting horror, I believe also you suspect your fellow people kind of game dynamic, so it had a little bit more. This one's just a cooperative survival crafting with dice rather than finding cards and stuff. I don't know how that's going to work. It's interesting concepts. I don't know if it'll work, and the plot line sucks.
Anyway.
Yeah, who knows?
And, very, very
there's a 20-minute summary of the 1 hour of lost content.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Yeah, that's about what we went over for it. Yeah, there were probably more details, but that's the important gist.
We tangented a lot.
We tangented a lot, so summarizing it in 20 minutes was not bad,
that's pretty good.
Those of you on the YouTube side who are watching this
enjoy the summary.
Enjoy the summary. There will be links in the description, because they were in chat here, that will go to these things except for the D&D Monopoly, because it'll be a 404 page, but I will link it to show that it existed at one point in time.
It may or may not be real. We may have dreamed it.
It's a fever dream of D&D Monopoly.
Yeah. Sounds about right. But yes, we were going to talk about dice. That's today's deeper discussion topic.
Cool.
We were going to talk not about owning your dice, but about your dice rolling. Because dice rolling comes in 3 different kind of shades. There's the basic dice rolling everybody does.
What were you about to say? 3 different whats?
I said shades.
Okay, shades. I thought it was a different S word.
Ah. Acceptable. But not correct. 20 minutes of condensed funny? Sure. As condensed as we can minute.
No, I mean, you missed a lot of tired stupidity.
I'm more awake now.
We're slightly more awake now.
I'm gonna have to drink some coffee before a game tonight.
I will have to find my tea and figure out some other stuff, but whatever, before game. Stuff going on. Anyway.
Dice stuff.
Dice. So yes, the first thing to think about is
rolling math rocks.
Yeah. Math rocks, very accurate description. There are some things about it. The first thing is it's a luck-based system. It's always going to be a luck-based system. It's a chance-based system, I should say, not a luck-based system. Chance is always the thing that you will always deal with, no matter what your character, and that could mean you're the most awesome person and you could still fail something, because even if you have like a plus 20 and the DC was 22 and you roll a 1, that's a 21 on that skill check,
you're talking about Anne.
That is a little bit...
A 1.
There it is.
As soon as you said we're talking about Anne,
I knew the sassing would bring in.
No, it was instantaneous. The delay. I think Amber was showing up anyway. But
bitch, what the fuck did you just say?
It was perfect timing.
Hey, Amber.
Yes.
You can only fail this one on nat 1.
Nat 1.
Fuck.
But see,
it was good timing because I was coming into here to say, did somebody say math rocks and do this? But
no.
The moment I joined,
there's Anne
I heard it on stream, so I was like,
Anne sass.
What did you just say?
The only person who can have a plus 25 modifier.
You're gonna pair a boss with Umber.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate thing that chance, the luck of your dice are so fast, wild. And
God.
Roll20 does a decent job of doing it. I think their algorithms are pretty good for mimicking rolling one of these things and going like, Well, this dice is also not properly balanced. It's roll down dice, but I got 13.
Hang on. We're gonna roll. Here, let me put a D20. Here we go. I got a 14. Suck on that.
Sorry, the DC was 15.
Oh,
17.
well,
I win for once.
Sorry, the DC was 1 higher.
I mean,
Look, I've said
let's
this.
see. I'm gonna roll one more. That's a 10. All right, I'm done.
Right.
yeah, but,
I've said this multiple times. The Roll20 system. Also, I just finished my oatmeal and I'm somewhat awake.
Mhm.
The
At least someone
Roll20 dice rolling system is actually very balanced.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty good.
They have a page that you can go to check to see what all the rolls that have been made globally on the site have been for the last 24 hours.
Exactly like a really well done system.
Yeah, and they always come out good.
However,
That said,
You
That
get all the
said-
bad luck.
Roll20 fucking hates me.
yeah.
As
Oh,
I'm sure the 3 people in this call can attest.
Oh, yeah.
you
Get
roll
rid of
really
the
well at the
dice.
times that you do not need to roll really well, and roll
Indeed.
really awful at all the
You-
times you need to roll really well.
you need to just be like me and take every nat one with pride.
One
Accept the failure. Just accept
Like the Nat
the
1
hard.
Wisdom.
One great
Yeah.
example. Well, you know what? Yeah, the Nat 1 Wisdom. It was a roll that meant literally nothing. It was originally going to do nothing in the game.
And then a Nat 1
Absolutely
happened.
nothing. And then a Nat 1 got rolled.
Yeah, and then something happened.
And I
And-
altered the deal.
My poor Dragonborn gained the skill Depression.
Gain
That was
proficiency in depression.
Another one would be things like the Basilisk, where I had, I think, maybe a 10% chance to fail it because of various
Yeah, something like
saving
that.
throw advantages.
1 or 2.
Failed it, turned to stone.
Mm-hmm.
Or you literally could only fail on a nat 1, and it was so unlikely.
Oh,
that-
for
The
This
amount of
spell.
times I have said I can only fail this on a Nat 1 across my various characters, and then immediately rolled a Nat 1 in the games I've been in with these people. And every single time it happens, I go to this Roll20 page to check what the global rolls have been, and it's like, nope, they're doing it right.
You.
It's all averaging out. Oh, that's golden. I'm really a fan.
This is what the game has decided. I mean, there was the one session where I made like 15 saves and passed 2 of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. The wisdom
That
save.
was-
Now, to be fair, the wisdom save was like a 15. I think you had a slightly better 50-50 or something.
Yeah, because I am a wisdom character.
Yeah, but you failed like all of them.
Yeah,
You rolled
all
like
but-
7 times.
all but, like,
and
2 of
failed
them.
5.
And then
The other
I
ones
had
were
nat 1 on a con check.
the other ones were what, DC 10 cons?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they were DC 10
I
cons.
failed
And
all
you
of
failed
those
2 of
too.
them.
Yeah, I
You
felt
failed,
those
like,
ones
2.
too. Mm-hmm.
It was the worst string of rolling I've ever seen from Momo.
Yeah,
And it
you
was-
were, like, decent at rolling.
I took a slight sadistic pleasure in it, seeing it happen to anyone other than me.
What? Wait. How about that? I like sometimes like my reverse luck. That like when I'm a player, I tend to roll like pretty low for some of my characters, and then like the one time I'm getting really high rolls, it was Star Trek where you want to roll low, and I was rolling
Oh.
high.
You were rolling
Meanwhile-
all the 20s.
I'm rolling
Anytime
20s, and
this
20s
man
are
is
bad.
DMing.
They're bad. Yeah. Oh,
Anytime this man is DMing, on the other hand,
Oh,
he
crit
cannot
save.
stop rolling hot.
I-
It
I-
is
I-
literally impossible. The rules of the universe bend themselves. Space-time contorts.
My beautiful tiefling in a graveyard, and it was just skeletons critting me over and over again.
and like
Oh,
I wasn't
Joe-
hiding the
that's
rolls
Joe
either.
Joe.
I'm rolling where everybody can see, and I'm like, wow, these just keep
We
coming.
have this one battle where Tantus is the only person critting. None of the
Yeah.
PCs are critting.
Who is the DM?
But Tantus, the DM, is critting non-stop on these skeletons.
Was that the early carrying crown thing?
That was the that was the early. That was like
'Cause-
session 2 or 3.
Yeah, because like we were about to die. Everyone there was going to die. And Tantus is like, 2 guys show up, and
They
like one of them almost
died.
died.
Yeah, one
Yeah.
of them
He's like,
almost
"All right,
died.
Skeleton will go attack him. Oh no! That's a crit."
It
That's
wasn't-
another crit.
Yeah. The
Like,
skeletons.
we stopped expecting Tantus to roll, and we were just like, so this is just gonna be a crit then? Yeah, alright, I'll take it. Don't worry about it, you don't gotta roll. I don't want to see the results. I can't take another crit. Just,
The pride of my poor tiefling got severely damaged that day.
yeah. The undead murdering machine was just slaughtered by
Absolutely
basic bitch skeletons.
I
Slap.
think I think Ling finally showed up. But by then, like everything was dead because it was.
To be fair, at that point, like in his backstory, he had only killed like 3 undead, and that was it.
Oh,
So he's still pretty shit.
So yeah, the luck of the dice is this weird nebulous thing that kind of hurts us, and that's not something you really. We can talk about the dice rolls we get, but theoretically, you know, if you have a balanced dice physically or a good program like Roll20, no matter how bad you roll or good you roll, it's theoretically, it's just statistics.
I have learned the best way to roll dice and to get the most fun is just when you roll that natural one and you fall on your fucking face, embrace it.
Yes.
Make it hilarious.
Yep. Now, there comes 2
Or
other
fight
things.
A bunch of skeletons or floating skulls that no one can hit except for a
the
bugbear.
combat takes an hour and a half.
And you're just like, I just want it to be over, and the DM's like, me too.
Now, this isn't the only type of dice rolls, and this is something that Roll20 has opened up a lot, especially for me, is something that I did a lot more in physical tabletop. The secret dice roll. This dice roll, no one can see it, you know? On Roll20, I usually have it displayed because I have my GM layer up. Even on Carrion Crown, where I'm running a game off stream, 95% of the time, I roll where the players can see it. You know, I gotta be honest, I just roll some dice and I'm like, the werewolves are attacking you, roll. What's your AC? You're hit. They don't maybe know the bonuses that the enemies have, but they know, like, okay, like...
You can figure it out.
You can figure that enemy at least has a +7, you know, or something, you know. Okay, that means he's pretty tough, you know, things like that.
The way I do it is, unless an enemy... If an enemy is invisible or I forget to turn it off, the rolls are never hidden.
I think, like, story-wise, there are reasons to have hidden rolls sometimes. Usually I go for those nowadays.
Yeah.
But that's about it, other than story-wise reason.
I will say, though, there is such pleasure of having a 6-person party and rolling a random d6 to decide something, and wait, what the fuck? What was that for? What are you doing?
And none of those D6s land on whatever my number was assigned to, so it's fine.
Never the road.
I think for me, in the olden days, I was much more on that secret path, because I feel like I played with people that, like, especially my one friend, Chad, who, he was a DM also. He was our other group DM.
And he's a total Chad. Like, that bro.
No. He's a cannibalistic humanoid above ground dweller.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Obviously. Like, how could he be anything else?
I hate it. Thank you.
He's also the one that's an English major and like does actual published poetry and stuff. So like, he's really good at crafting stories. He's not as good at balancing his stories sometimes when it comes to combats and stuff. But again, like, he's usually pretty good at adding in like these things that will allow you to overcome your difficulties or assist you on it. Sometimes they're more obvious than others. Just gonna leave it on that one. Big red button, not always noticeable.
I'm eternally, like, when I first started doing tabletop role-playing games, I didn't really care either way about whether dice rolls were shown. Granted, that was years and years ago. But in the past couple of years, I've become a master proponent of just showing rolls, because in my opinion, it doesn't change much about the game, and it can both reduce frustration and just make the game more engaging.
Yes.
On one hand, the engaging side of it is just like, it's fun seeing what everyone's rolling, even the DM, seeing how you roll and like get, well, in our case it's reversed, you know, groaning when the DM gets a nat 20 and cheering when the DM gets a 1. It's fun. It brings the DM more into that rather than having them just as this ambiguous other person.
Part of the game.
I think there are some advantages to secret rolls, especially like in the tabletop form. Like, because one of the things that if you're in the physical form, one that they say is like, sometimes just roll some dice.
Yeah, scare them. Scare them.
No reason. You're actually not rolling the dice for anything. It's just the players don't know that, and that's why, like, it's supposed to throw off their expectation of, like, if I roll the dice when you're doing something, maybe there was not supposed to be an encounter there or anything, or something you can notice, but you don't know that.
I may or
In
may not do that.
roll 20, at least I
hope
could
that
say,
maybe not.
like, maybe my rolls were hidden, you know? In that case, you know? But, like, on
verge-
stream, I can't do that, you know? Stream, people are going to know if
Yeah.
I'm rolling for that kind of shit. But normally I expect the players not to be watching stream, and I don't really care that much.
I only pop the chat out.
Yeah.
I definitely verge against the like. I can understand the the keeping them on their toes bit. I verge against it, but that's for personal reasons.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
Um,
No,
That's fair.
it's...
But the other part of it is that because like the first part was bringing the DM to the game, right?
Mhm.
The other part is reducing frustration, and there's actually an amazing example that Lightning went through recently. that
Yeah.
perfectly encapsulates my argument on this about showing rolls.
Yeah. I'm fighting this really strong angel monster, and I'm not looking up its stat block because that's stupid. And then so I'm like, well, it's flying. Looking up rules while the other players are having their turns. Okay, you grapple someone, it's 5e. You grapple someone, their speed drops to 0. That includes fly speed because that's a type of speed. And then so I was looking at, okay, well, how do you grapple? It's like I think it's just an action, and it's like, oh yeah, it's an attack action. But if you have multiple attacks, you can substitute one of your regular attacks for a grapple. So I'm like, hell yeah. I'll fly up there because my character also has flight. Stupid angel. And I'll attack with one action to try and do some damage and then try and grapple them to reduce their speed. Because we have a whole bunch of melee people who can't fight this flying creature. And so I have maximum strength. We're level 9. I have 20 strength. Can't get any more strength unless I get a mystical item that bumps up to 22. I have proficiency, not expertise. I have proficiency in athletics. If I had expertise, would be a different story, but it's a very by the books regular core rules. There's not a lot of like extra home rules or anything. In fact, there's probably 0. Well, not 0, but very few compared to my game. So I have the best possible modifier I can for my class that I'm playing, and I'm like, all right, let's go. And I rolled like a 23 or something. I don't know if it was 26, but it was pretty good. I'm like, hell yeah, that's a good roll. DM clicks a button, I don't see anything, and it's like, nope, you fail. It's like, wow.
Yep.
Now
So
the key
that
part
kinda
about
sucks.
this is the creature could only fail on a
19
nat
or
20.
Yeah, it could only pass that. If I rolled a 23, it would have to get a 19 or 20.
Yeah, because it was
If
20
I
on
saw-
athletics and 19 on acrobatics or something.
Yeah, because
One
it
or
had
two.
more dex, so it could be
Yeah.
a 19 or 20 if it would do an acrobatics.
Now,
But
it's
if I
entirely,
saw that
it's
it was a
entirely
19 or
possible.
20,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared. I'd been like, oh wow, it rolled like a 19. That's amazing. Yeah, of course I fail. But I didn't. So I'm like, okay, well, it's probably got some modifiers. So like, probably rolled average and it's got some really good modifiers. It's a creature. Creatures don't follow the same rules. So I really didn't think about it that much. And then I rolled a 14 on my next attempt, and then it flew away, and we basically just never fought it again. By the way, that's spoilers when we talk about that's what happened on Wednesday for me. That's
Mhm.
the Wednesday
Fun.
5e game. And then it flew away. We're probably never going to find it again.
Now, the key part of this is that after the game, you went to look at its stats.
I went and looked up the stats. Now, it has some plus 11s to certain things. It has plus nothing to acrobatics or athletics. So it would just be a strength or a dex check.
Yep.
And it's
And so
like,
it's
this
like,
is where I argue for showing rolls, because it's entirely possible that, yeah, the DM might have rolled a 20 or 19 on that monster and said, you know what, fuck your grapple, it doesn't pass.
Yeah.
But it's the
it
ambiguity
could've
of not
been.
seeing the roll. It's just,
But it
just
also
being told,
could've
oh,
been.
it failed when you got such an amazing result.
Yeah.
That
Because it makes me think that either they read the stat block wrong, they rolled really good, or they just didn't want the battle to end that way, and they narratively forced the encounter to
Yeah.
go how they. And that, for me as a player, I hate that with passion.
Yeah,
that
I
comes
also
in. That comes
dislike
into
that.
the section where I call lies of this entire thing, because dice roll and lies, when it comes to a character or role playing game, go hand in hand. And unfortunately, it's not all on the DM side. Now, granted, on the DM side, it's probably entirely. I don't know if it's entirely another conversation, but it's another section of this conversation to kind of be like the DM lying to players about stuff. That's a tough thing because, like, sometimes being brutally honest can be terrible. Because, again, luck. If your entire team rolls ones against an instant death effect, wow!
Yeah.
That's just where the hell did that come from? And you're kind of screwed because you don't want the game to end. Like, the threat of something like that is kind of hard to get rid of sometimes because there should be threat, but, you know, like, maybe 1 or 2 players dying, maybe they have resurrection magic, you know, maybe if one of them doesn't resurrect, you can have a replaced character, things like that that can occur, that, like, one character failing spectacularly is something. It's just when things go so badly, so rapidly in a battle that shouldn't, that it becomes harder to, like, keep things, and that's going into, like, Deus Ex Machina territory and a lot of things like that. And,
I will say, when I did physical DMing, at this point it's been a long time, I had my DM screen. If the party was, let's say I had a level 1 party, and the fight against these, we'll say, goblins is going really badly for them, and they're already, like, super low. They're, like, down on the ground, super low on maybe, like, their last save, and a goblin it's smart. It's probably going to take out an opponent, and I roll a die and it hits, and their level 1 character, I might fudge it so the attack misses to keep them alive. And then obviously there's still a chance of death on their death save.
I mean, this is
I've done things like that before, but
this is the other side where I do have to admit it has its merits of not showing rolls, because there are definitely times where the DM wants to fudge things for, you know, good reasons, which are valid. It's also like, I'm not a big fan of instant death checks in general, in any form, even on the player side, because well, B's an example of it, basically.
Slumber.
There is a witch in our Wednesday game, Pathfinder First Edition, and they have the Slumber Hex, which is straight up, it can be used on any enemy once per day. If that enemy fails and isn't immune, they just fall asleep. There's no time duration, no short-term time duration. Like, it's not like sleep where it's a certain amount of hit dice and it lasts for a minute.
Well, no, it does last for, I think, a minute per level of witch.
Yeah, a minute per level.
Yeah, that's the thing. Instead of being a minute period, it is a minute per level. And the hit dice does not matter. It is straight up, does this creature pass its check? If yes, it's fine. If no, it falls asleep immediately. And that ability, while it has been very useful, has also made many of our fights very anticlimactic.
So, yeah, I also do want to say, and this is not rude to Jess, she doesn't know about Pathfinder characters. Slumber is kind of the only reason Beatrix is good.
I mean, sure, yeah. Like, not getting into B herself, really. This is just, you know, these type of massive summon sale in general. And the same thing goes to death effects. Having any time your characters is being able to die off a single roll doesn't feel good, because the dice can just come up bad. I kind of like things more like, as much as I hate them, the Mind Flare route, or in this case specifically, what are they called? Brain Devourers?
Intellect Devourers?
Intellect Devourers, there we go.
Yeah.
An Intellect Devourer, it is not just one save and you die. It needs to go through 3 different saves. If you fail 3, then your character dies, but at least it can shift probability to not be, you know, on this one roll. If you pass any of these 3, you know, you're fine.
Too bad Dranther wasn't there to fight the
I mean, the thing I said were death saves, and I would feel bad if I actually fully caused the death, because I used to be soft until players started being really, like, pushy, and now I'm like, I'm taking the kids' gloves off. This is memeing, of course. It's never my intention to kill a character, but it happens sometimes, and sometimes at low levels, if something like that is going to happen, and I'm hiding rolls, I will make it not happen.
There's another thing though, because as a DM, you control the entire battle map, all the creatures or whatever. I have done it before, where I focused on a particular character. It was an NPC in this case, the one I'm thinking of. It was a zombie ogre reflavored a little bit, and it beat the crap out of this orc barbarian. Not barbarian, he was a fighter, but he had really huge con. He had come back from the dead because I'm an orc or whatever. But like, he was an NPC, and I wasn't gonna worry about it. But as soon as the NPC started getting really low on hit points, he might have done something, or he might have said something like, "Hey, distract this guy," and I could have had the creature attack somebody else.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. I've also, in situations where it can apply, I've also just done it where, hey, if the party goes down, they're just like captured and they can escape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is
I
one
feel
of my
like-
favorite ways.
Like,
But that depends highly on the
situation.
enemy.
Yeah.
If you're going by, I'll use my example. If I was doing just a general undead game where I haven't upped the intelligence due to background things of undead, they would just kill you. But as the players know, they are capturing people. So if you guys would wipe in this dungeon, or would have wiped, you're a bit powerful now. That's probably not going to happen. You would have just been dragged to like a cell or something. You would have had to escape.
Like, the thing is, I have to say, like, 5e, it's very hard to kill a player. Not impossible,
Yes.
but very hard. The
if
only
you're doing balance encounters.
if you're doing balance encounters, the only time that I actually theoretically had 2 characters die, both of them have been dabbling in dark powers, so, like, I kind of had the excuse of them being corrupted and influenced by those dark powers in order to save them lives, and I technically gave them both options whether they wanted to take that. It's like, you can have your character die and make a new character, or you can submit to this horrible dark power that's just been manipulating you for a little while now. Which would you like to do? Of course, both of them took the dark power route, but
I mean, yeah.
there were other issues with that game.
I've had, it's no secret, I've had my share of character deaths. I'm a Pathfinder player. You can die very easily in Pathfinder. 5e though, I've not had as many. Actually,
So I need to kill roll.
it had been quite a while since I'd had one until one of my Thursday games, the 5e one, where we were in a sewer exploring, and we fought some black pudding. I died in that encounter. However, due to the DM thinking this could maybe be used for plot, Resurrection was cast on me, and the stipulation, because my god, because I'm playing a religious character who's an artificer but tied to a holy order and tied to a specific god, to let my character's soul come back, my god was like, you have to serve me indefinitely. And I was granted certain powers and some very bad drawbacks to come back,
Mm-hmm.
which is a way you can do it as well. So my character is permanently basically shackled to the service of a god.
Neat.
And again, like, resurrection's a thing. That's one of those things that, like, especially, like, I gotta be honest, in Carrying Crown, the back end is probably where the first point you're going to start maybe encountering instant death effects. The thing about that is, you're 8th level. You're probably going to be 9th. You're going to be 9th level before the end of the adventure. That's where you're supposed to be. At 9th level is the earliest time some classes can cast Raise Dead. So you've reached the level where someone can bring you back. Now, granted, you guys don't have a cleric
No.
or any
have
divine
something-
caster.
Something that's kind of like that.
You don't have a resurrection dude at all.
It'll be
It's
fine, probably.
it's not helpful, unfortunately, but
No.
you know, there is one person that, as I was saying, could be used as a Deus Ex Raise character, because if you get a Raise Dead scroll, you got one person that can cast it. Beatrix.
It's me.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
It's on the witch list. Raise Dead.
yeah, and hopefully, I'm just straight up considering just maybe leave B in the campaign for that reason.
I can just
that's
have her kind of like, the thing is, like, I always joked about Reese being in the background too.
Yeah, you can just have
Yeah.
her there. Because we do that with Jess's characters on Thursday. They're there when we need them to be, and not there when we don't.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those things, is like, it's the unfortunate thing that having a full divine casters, or at least someone that could use scrolls for that kind of reason, are very helpful, because as much as it's detrimental to have to worry about, like, raising people from the dead, and that has its own issues too, having that option is one of those things, because Pathfinder is a much more brutal system. Older systems were much more brutal. Granted, 3rd edition, 3.5 Pathfinder removed levels of that brutality that used to exist. Negative levels used to actually drain experience.
Yep.
Now they're just bad things that Magic can eventually get rid of, and usually costs money. And granted, like, money was an issue we were talking about. That's another tire side thing, is balancing out your loot of your characters.
Yeah. Those are things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah,
you
so
hide rolls too much,
yeah, like,
and the players can feel like it's them versus you.
and
Yeah,
you don't hide it, and it can be more brutal, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just like, oh well, that's what it
Well,
rolls.
if it's in the open, I can't fudge it.
No.
Granted, you can fudge
That's
certain
the
things
downside.
like stats and stuff, but sometimes it's hard to do that, especially because players could be calculating what's going on.
Like, I can
Yeah.
fudge HP, and
Oh, HP is so easy.
it's easy. Like, if you guys are getting your ass kicked by like a monster, I could just be like, the next hit's just gonna kill it.
Yeah, you can just, like, remove it. Like, like, the thing is, like, that's usually why I like looking at, like, the HP ranges of a monster, because they're, like, most monsters will tell you, here's what its hit points are, but here's the dice we used to get that average number as to calculate those hit
Here's
points.
the weird math to justify the number we gave it.
Yeah, like, but the thing is, that math does pertain to other stuff, because I think hit dice pertains to proficiency bonuses for monsters
Yeah,
too,
things like
X,
that.
etc., etc.
That's
The thing is, I could pretend this is that one really sickly version of the monster that rolled all ones on its D8, so it's like,
or
Really old
maybe
version.
if it's undead, it's more decayed than the other
Yeah.
ones, and therefore it has less hit points.
and you know, like, subtracting like 2, 3 per hit dice all of a sudden will make you kill it faster. That's for sure. You know, in the same retrospect, if your players are beating the shit out of it, you can just change it from like, oh, it was 5 per hit dice to, oh, now it's 6 per hit dice. It just, maybe it only gets 20 extra hit dice, but maybe that makes it last a little while longer to get off some kind of cool something or other that'll damage your players a little bit more and make it feel like a little bit more of a challenging event, rather than just like
Stupid crab,
they murder it instantaneously.
like the crab battle. It was a great battle, but it only survived for 2 rounds.
That came down to, we got some really good damage rolls on it too.
And also initiative.
Yeah, oh
Initi-
man, the crab initiative being so low. I mean, it could have downed a bunch of people, but no, it went last.
Yeah, so I think it got 2 actions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it took us 3 turns worth of moves to kill it, because we all had our
Yeah.
initiative, and but we all rolled enough.
I was the only character to get majorly fucked up in the battle. As well.
No, Dranther was flying around. He got hit with.
Oh
a
yeah, Dranther got
shadow.
hit with spit.
Yeah,
And he got spit on.
I heard.
Got
It
spit on
was
by
like,
a
it was
Uh,
like,
crab.
The barbarian was also.
am I breaking up a little bit? Oh, I'm paused up on screen.
Our
Cool, it's
barbarian
like, oh,
killed
There it
killed
goes.
Oh, no more muting.
No, that was just a little bit of like a freeze up for a second.
Oh, okay.
It can happen when I'm streaming sometimes. I think it might be just an internet thing or something. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is.
Anyway, any more dice things we want to talk about?
There
We've
is one
sort
more
of
thing,
started-
because we've
Oh.
kind of... The thing is, we hit up, like, secret dice rolls. There's
Yeah.
one more type of dice roll that also pertains to secrets. Lying dice.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you, as the DM, especially if you're secret dice, you can lie. That's why we were talking about, like, you know, changing a battle to, like, make it, like, not murder your players when it's unlucky for them. You can change
Yeah.
the dice rolls because of that. Where'd that roll down D20?
I mean, I'm kind of, I can understand it, but I think in the general, I disagree.
Yeah.
Because if you start lying about it, you're changing the chance and randomness, and you are making it into a narrative battle where it's just like, I want things to go like this before the battle ends.
Yeah.
And then you're not playing D&D anymore.
That's why I don't really do it anymore.
Let me give
And
you.
that's why also most of my rolls are public now.
It's not just DM. How about this example?
Yeah.
Nat 20.
Yeah.
Oh, when you're rolling in person and you
I've-
grab it before someone can see it.
The scoop up.
Ooh.
I've
Yeah.
known people that have done that, and that's why you have to force them to roll out in public and not scoop it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a player who did that.
Or
and-
wait. I do remember someone doing this one time. Nat 20.
What?
That's,
They rolled it, put their hand over it, thought for like a good 3 seconds, and then said Nat 20, and I'm like, oh.
Roll again.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I handle it. Roll again.
Yeah. No, you you know. You want
Uh-huh.
to roll that way, then I'll roll. You know what? I also got a nat 20. In fact, I got 16 nat 20s.
No,
Wow, that's
the
weird. Oh, you're dead.
the problem was these weren't at that one wasn't at an important time. So I'm like, you're fighting like mook monsters. What the shit? I
Oh,
don't really care if you murder the shit out of this thing. It wasn't
The
meant to be a
monsters,
difficult
they
battle.
Combine into a larger monster,
I know.
and they
Big
punch
mook.
you. Oh, nat 20. Well,
It was just more
That's unfortunate.
confusing than angering was the thing. It was like, what? Why did you what?
yeah.
No. It's the unfortunate thing that cheating unfortunately exists because also Roll20 is such a saving grace for character sheets.
It is.
Because I don't have to be on here and this is just a piece of paper with notes on it, but I'm saying I don't have to have all the numbers and be this totally adds up to this number here. Or I know some people that because they can have miscellaneous modifiers don't have the number added up and be give me a second to add all these up. Here's my numbers for today. These are totally the correct numbers, which they might be. They might not even be trying to cheat. They could just do bad math.
I mean, I've done that before, but usually it's in benefit of the DM. Because when I was looking, because when Cell joined our game,
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at my hit point math, and I'm like, my hit point math is wrong.
Yeah, I had that as well, and I changed it because I should have had 5 less, and I just alright, I'm just gonna make it lower. Sure.
Yeah, I mean I've done that too, where it's I have too much. Yeah, I mean there's ways you can kind of try and cheat, and Roll20 or probably other digital ones. But with Roll20 at least, because this is what we use a lot of, you can mouse over and it'll show you the math on what the roll was. It'll show you what the D20 was, and it'll show you the modifier.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at it and be like, that doesn't look right. Thankfully, though, most of the people that I play with, probably exclusively all of them, are all pretty honest, and I really don't distrust any of my players to be doing some weird things. But that's not the case for a lot of the world, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, but sadly there are people who will just try to cheat in their dice rolls, and I don't personally understand it. To me that ruins the game. You can't be successful all the time.
Well, it's the same thing as using it like an aimbot or wall hacks in a shooter. You didn't accomplish anything.
You accomplished nothing.
Your cheats got you the win. That's
Hollow victory.
The thing is, there's another point rather than just victory too. There's frustration, and I can understand that. Let's say you've been on a poor streak of rolling. That temptation for just being I want one success in your brain. What about that point in time? Where you've been anning it and rolling really bad when you have really high bonuses.
You failed all your wisdom saves.
I'll admit there has sometimes been a temptation.
But you see, that is a thing that I can understand too. That there can be a temptation in you because of such bad rolls and stuff.
For
But at the
me,
same time, even putting aside that you can't really do that with Roll20,
Yeah.
It's still not something that I'd ever do because, again, you go back to you didn't actually, you cheated. That's what it comes down to. You cheated. There is no victory to be gained from cheating. You didn't accomplish anything.
I don't really ever feel that temptation because I am of the mindset that failure can be fun.
Mm.
And failure in combat sure can get frustrating, but if you
Skull battle.
survive, you can. The skull battle is a good example of frustrating because I was rolling low, they were rolling low, nothing was fucking happening.
Yeah.
But you can come out of a combat you rolled really low in, and you can have your character have moments and realizations about that, and do some role play about it.
Or you can just kind of laugh about it.
Or you
You're
can
like,
laugh
that
at it.
sucked.
You can laugh at your failures.
Yeah.
I mean that's an attitude about things which is very good to have. But I think it's like, unfortunately, like,
It's not everybody.
it's not everybody, and I don't always know that, like for myself, if I'm rolling bad, I'm going to be more frustrated. I can't laugh it off because I'm like, it's maybe not that I don't necessarily want to have success. It's like, I would like to have, like, actually be able to do something, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The thing is,
I
there's
agree with
degrees
that.
of it. For the most part, as poor luck as my rolls generally tend to be, it doesn't usually get me down. But there have been a few moments in Carrion Crown where it's just like, all right, I have literally not been able to do anything for over an hour because the dice have just said no for over an hour.
All of Slosh Caramel or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
I think everyone is just ready for that.
it's
place.
less just it's less having a bad like attitude towards it. And sometimes it just gets you. It just is overwhelmingly like, well, this is shitty.
Chat, let me tell you the story of how a boss fight ended in that dungeon. It wasn't any of us that killed it. It was a goat I summoned. The DM killed the DM's own monster.
The goat.
Mhm.
Well, there was a fight before that too, where I started figuring out mechanically what was going on because I've had experience playing 3rd edition and a little bit of Pathfinder at this point, and I'm like, oh, I know what's going on now. I can't do anything in this fight, and therefore the fight means nothing to me anymore. There's no stakes. I can't help, and in that aspect, when you know you can't do anything, that's definitely when I'm just like, I just lean back in the chair and just like, whatever.
The werewolves. If your bow did not have zappy damage, you.
Oh yeah.
Killed melee.
I would have done nothing without
Damage
that.
reduction can be both. It's like understandable why it exists, but it can be such a frustration too.
Because you can just end up doing nothing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it switches off a chunk of your ability to do things. And it kind of comes down to the same kind of way that there are always frustrations, like when your character is not a good matchup for a fight. Like, again, like a freaking, let's say you built an enchanter that's great in like a lot of situations, and the campaign, let's say, has a lot of like intrigue and people and stuff. And then there's the section you're going down into this dungeon or this crypt with a lot of undead because you're trying to retrieve something for someone you're helping out. That's part of the political intrigue that your enchanter excels at. All of a sudden, you fucking suck.
Yeah, like, I was gonna say something, but it slipped my mind now. No, I remember what I was gonna say. My other Thursday game, which is a Stars Without Numbers, it often feels like whatever we do, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Because things will just go a specific way.
Yeah, where it's the narrative. This is what the DM wants to tell the story, and that's just how the story's gonna go.
Like, an
At that
example
point, why are you playing a game?
it works with dice rolls as well. Because what had happened at one point is we were in a fight with someone who had a thunder gun, which is like, I think it's like a sound weapon, right, or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what it actually does, but the gun itself got shot, and there was a roll to see if it malfunctioned. I don't remember. I don't think we saw what the roll was. It malfunctioned, exploded, and blew a hole in the side of a spaceship that we were trying to hijack. Which that's not how that works. Because spaceships don't do that. But it felt like it often feels like that, and there's nothing we can do to win, quote unquote. That like it's always going to be hard on us for. You know,
And I think like the idea of the lie most of the time comes down to frustration on one person's end or another, because now, like, I think DM frustration can occur too. And for me, I recognize that, like, in my old days, it probably would have frustration of, like, there is always a little bit of mentality of player versus DM. There shouldn't be, but it comes down to it sometimes, especially like depending on how the players are acting with your story. You know, if the players are kind of like steamrolling your story or kind of being jerks, you might feel a little bit more against them. Now, granted, that could be in their nature, and that could be just the nature of the characters they're playing, and it's nothing like too terrible. It can be terrible, but it might not be. But it could still give you that feeling. On the other hand, it could come down to like, this is supposed to be like this epic encounter, and all of a sudden, he falls asleep.
I can feel that. I can feel
And,
that.
like, I've gotten to the point in time where I'm like, I know there's a witch. I know that there was a percentage chance that Mathis could have been knocked out like that.
And he did.
You know, I knew that was there, and I was like, if it happens, it happens.
There-
I don't need to worry about
when
it.
that happened, sure, I laughed hysterically because it was very funny. But there was part of me that's like,
It's kind of a hollow victory.
it was a hollow victory. This is kind of a big thing for my character. This is his home. He wanted vengeance. He was angry. These people were traitors to his people, and it ended immediately. He didn't get the satisfaction of having the chance of being the one to end it.
Yeah,
And it's
like,
just like, oh, well, it's over.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
it was the unfortunate that because that was the first thing that happened, it was a
Oh, yeah.
very hollow victory.
Yeah,
'Cause he
that
got
was
the
turn
initiative.
one.
Yeah.
Had it happened later, it would have been better. But the way Jess played B, that is what would have happened anyways if Jess was there.
Yeah,
Most likely.
the thing is, she would have started off with sleep. It's what she normally starts off with, and
It is just that anticlimactic, like, you know, you're preparing for the final battle of, in this case, a module, but your final boss battle, and you're excited, and you got, you know, you're hyped up, you got music going, and then
Yeah.
before your turn even gets to, before turn order even gets to you, the fight's done, and it's
I'm
like,
pretty sure
oh,
my contribution to that was a great sword swing that missed and a bite that didn't do anything.
I got to admit, things would have gone
hit him with
differently
acid arrow.
if it wasn't for a natural 20 right before that natural 1.
You know,
Because-
actually thinking about it, technically, he should have woken up pretty much immediately
Mm.
because
was
he had
out?
acid arrow on him. No, he had acid arrow.
his
Acid arrow-
turn didn't come around.
her
His
turn
turn
did-
hadn't come around yet.
And it would have hit him on his turn.
Like,
He would have woken up. If he had lived to his turn,
Yeah.
he would have woken
It
up
was
right
like
away.
Zorm, you, or you Zorm, and then B win before anybody else even got a turn. Like, Manacle hadn't had a turn, I hadn't had a turn. It's just the
think
boss was asleep. And it's like,
have-
oh.
Michael didn't have a turn because the Tipple check was before combat.
He had like a ready to action or whatever and like charged at us, attacked us. I think I won the initiative, so I hit him with
Mhm.
acid arrow.
Mhm.
And it's like, it just barely hits. I'm like, oh man, because I don't have like good attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Zoram, I think, was like, swing a sword. Nope. I bite him. And it's like, yeah, okay. And it's
Do
like,
anything.
slumber. Battle was over.
Yeah.
My contribution was walking up to the now sleeping boss and just
And-
Well, the thing is,
stab it and kill it.
he rolled terrible on initiative.
Yeah,
And as I
yeah,
said, the other thing before then is Sabrizia. You guys rolled a natural 20 on a diplomacy to convince her to turn against it.
yeah.
very
I was like,
forced.
granted, the natural 20 wasn't really like a thing, but it was sort of like, they don't give me an exact DC for that entire thing. They tell you you could convince her, but I'm like, I was thinking about what evidence are you providing? You're sort of providing evidence. You don't have like, you're basically like, we have some paperwork and some stuff about it. It's not bad evidence, but it's not great evidence. So I'm like, all right, I'll put this DC relatively high. Not only was it a nat 20, but it was like a 30 something. It was,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
33.
it was like a 33.
some shit.
It was like, it was more than I was going to put the DC at, and I'm like, and it's also a natural 20, and I'm like, yeah, you know, you convinced her to join you. That was like,
Yeah.
I could easily just say that at that point in time. Above a 30, natural 20.
But you kept it secret until, and she was like, so she like pulls out this, she was like casting a spell. It's like lightning, like call lightning or something.
And then she
And it's
hits
like,
him.
She's gonna do a spell.
Yeah.
And she hit the boss villain. And so it's like, oh hell yeah! And we all cheered because we had a success. And then
Yeah.
it fell asleep.
Yeah.
Honestly, having her, like, I thought she was about to cast a spell on us because we hadn't had a chance to show any evidence yet.
Yeah, you were just
And
like
then
saying
having
and
her
like
actually
talking
hit him
about
was
it,
like-
and you know, yeah.
Yeah, having her hit him was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
his initiative roll was awful, and I think that's another component to it, you know, too. So
It's
he
like
got,
the crab battle all over again.
yeah, he rolled terribly. He had a good bonus, so I don't think he was last. but he still was pretty low on the list. I think he was like above Soren or something, you know.
Oh yeah, Soren rolled like garbage.
Soren
Yeah.
also rolled like garbage, and both of them had a pretty high bonus.
Ass kicked during that session.
But
Hilarious.
so it comes down to this
That's right,
entire
all the
thing of
werewolves.
that it became anticlimactic, and it's hard to go against that because I think for me, this is not the first time Slumber has murdered a werewolf.
It happened multiple times.
I have
prior.
been conditioned to this.
Because one of them was like running up of the stairs and Slumber. It's like, well, he falls and dies.
What was it? I have had all 3 of my campaigns have had a witch in them.
Oh
God.
no.
In the one that Joe was in, it was I can't remember. Was it Mafungo? He was from the Mwangi Expanse, and he was a man witch.
Oh, is it the one with the mustache?
Yes, it was the one that used his mustache to fight people.
Oh no, he was freaking JoJo.
Yes, he JoJo'd it. He had a mustache.
Yeah.
Or what Bobo, yeah. But so,
Bobo.
but he slumbered also, and then I can't remember the character for the other time playing it, but I remember they also slumbered. I don't know if they slumbered him. They might have slumbered Sabrizia, but Sabrizia is 5th level in comparison to like 8th level, so you know.
Did they hurt our queen?
Look, you're the only team that left her alive.
Bonk.
Whoa. Not allowed. Okay, after our
Wait,
mission was
seriously?
done,
We're the only ones?
we
Yes,
had to go hunt down the other party and kill them.
because
Yeah,
you're the
yeah.
only ones
Oh,
that
that's
actually
totally
managed
okay.
to convince her and or weren't aggressive 3 seconds in.
We are like the nicest. What I said? I
You
joked.
you attempted to talk a little bit instead
Yeah.
of murder.
Violence
We are
is the only solution.
Legitimately just like the least murder hobo group, which is odd considering what our party has consisted of.
Considering one character wants nothing but revenge at this point, is just pissed off at these fucking necromancers and everyone who works with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
But
the
like the thing is you can play a character like that and not have to be a murder hobo. I don't
Always
but the thing
the
is,
answer to everything.
you call them murder hobos, but I gotta be honest, they are not murder hobos.
They're just adventurers.
They were just
Some
normal
people
adventurers.
are.
It's the thing is, it's one of those things that old game mentality, even if they weren't murder hobos, especially if they weren't, still existed a very aggressive mentality.
Did they
Because
bring up the capybara incident?
things were
Yeah,
also
yeah.
more
That's
dangerous. When things are more dangerous and you have a much more higher chance of dying, you're not going to ask as many questions, you know, about stuff. I think that's one of those things is 5th edition removed a lot of the threat of death. And that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
Again, didn't make it impossible, made it really hard to die sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Well, this capybara could have really killed us, guys.
Yeah.
We had the spotter.
Yeah.
But because
You
of
got-
that,
we've
well,
talked
that
about this before,
I felt the capybaras was like it was our first mission. We're just like, oh
Very
god,
cool.
what the fuck is that thing?
It's a really big rat thing,
let's just kill it. Just get it.
and they're just like vibing off on the corner, and they're like,
They haven't noticed us. They haven't noticed us. We got the surprise.
and then the sneak attack murdered one. I'm like, oh god. And I rolled to see like would they bother fighting back at this point, and like I rolled like low, so it's like no, they're too high.
And
So
then
I'm
one of
like,
them started
nothing
eating the
happened.
other. I'm like, oh my god, they're consuming
Yeah,
their
and it's like,
allies.
oh hey.
See, by that part in time, I was already feeling like, oh god, maybe we shouldn't kill them anymore.
But then you didn't. You went and murdered all of them.
Yeah.
Well,
When you
I
could've
already
just, like-
went, and everybody else continued to murder.
Yeah. They continued the cycle of murder.
Marty
which-
caused it.
Marty started it, and Kelmer was certainly not going to start it, because Kelmer will do what Kelmer does best.
Kelmer
Oh.
must smash.
Kelmer will finish any fight as it starts.
Mm-hmm.
Or start some if they're crabs.
Yeah, or just aggressively attack crabs. They got close. It's like, yeah, they're going into the cave with all the
They're
dead
gonna eat the
fish
fish.
people.
Murder them!
Oh my god.
I mean, like, the crabs, that was stupid. The badgers, we might have been okay, but they were generally close to
The-
us, so I feel like that
The
was the...
badgers, I think, were definitely more aggressive at you. You might have been living in their den
I mean,
or
badgers
something.
are actual like aggressive animals.
So
Yeah,
that's why, like, I
badger
feel like the badger
crab
battle
would
was
be
at least the one that I could be like, yes, I think we started it, but they were approaching us, and we did recognize them as dangerous, aggressive animals, and some of them were the size of, like, men, You know, so I'm
Yeah,
like,
they were
that
really
seems
big
that
ones.
seems like we shouldn't just wait and see. And do we have anybody that's good with animals? No. All right, aggression it is.
I love the random encounters I've had in that game. Okay, any more dice things?
Yeah, I think that's we kind of hit up on the major things that like dice rolls will be dice rolls, of course. Sometimes having a secret dice roll can be good, sometimes not. It's a hard balancing issue between those two things sometimes, because again, it's like the players maybe want to see a lot of those things because it fills them with like, ah, man, the luck is on the DM's side. But on the other hand, the DM is less likely to save them if the luck is on the DM's side, you know?
Yeah.
If the DM is
like,
rolling like really hot and the players are rolling complete shit, you know, the DM's like, because of the dice, I don't want to just murder you all, but
yeah, I don't want to continue this fight anymore.
and lying about dice, that's a tough one to talk about when it's good or bad. Like, if you've got secret dice rolls, maybe
It's
saying like,
situational.
like that's situational. Like maybe saying like, oh, I didn't totally roll this 20. It was a 19. Man, I still hit you. Good thing it wasn't a critical. I've actually done that in a game. I was like, when this one character was getting the shit beat out of him, no one was able to help them, and I'm like, I feel bad because they were not fighting back at all against something they should have been able to defeat, and I'm like, oh, it is about to critical you and probably murder you. You know what? It's just a normal hit. You can have one more chance.
Could it have been like an octopus, maybe, that they wanted to befriend? Like an evil summoned octopus that was...
No, but that was hilarious.
I just want to be your friend.
Yeah, that was just like...
Stop hurting me.
That was very funny.
I mean...
It was funny, but that made the encounter so
I feel
hard.
like the character running away did that.
Both
That
those
didn't
things did.
help
Neither helped. Neither helped. I do have to say, like, today's discussion has given me a whole bunch of new topics to add to the list.
Oh, good.
The octopus thing, part of that was my fault because I didn't play, and I was like, all right, Jess really wants this octopus, fine, and gives you the sleeping octopus, which I knew when I did it I shouldn't do, and it made literally no sense for me to do, but it's like how could this go horribly wrong? I'm just gonna give Jess. I'm just gonna give this one to Jess. She can, if she takes the L, she takes the L, and then.
And then on my turn, I was like, I should probably kill this octopus. Just like, B gives you that look, and I'm like, I can't kill the octopus now.
It was such a funny moment in character and out of character, I guess. But it ended up being really bad.
Yeah,
for the
we almost
battle.
fucking died.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, on that note,
we got games to
about
talk
some
about.
games you've been in.
Well, I mean, your game is one of the main ones because there hasn't been that many.
Boy.
Someone else talk about my game.
Hi.
I'm afraid of what I'll say.
It was chaos session again.
Isn't it always?
Usually, one character may or may not have become a fox girl. Overnight in the span of about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was over the course of like 5 to 7 days.
Several days. And then
2
my
sessions.
character, my wood elf, woke up as a fox girl when an angry dragonborn kicked in my door.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We had this topic, and I forgot. I could have swore Roland slept in pants. Is that right?
Roland sleeps in pants, but Roland didn't sleep in a shirt because Roland usually sleeps
that's
in a shirt.
what I thought.
So the party had seen things they shouldn't have. It was an established thing from like many sessions ago. So yeah, the party saw some things.
Yep.
And only the druid helped cover the person up. The rest were too embarrassed.
I wasn't allowed in the room.
Yeah, you were banned from the room. Dranther was too embarrassed.
Dranther was trying to get Marty and Kelmer out of the room. Because Dranther knows things and wanted them out of the room.
The best part of that entire outcome is Dranther refused to look at my character for a very long time.
Yep. But we got back home finally.
We get back home. And then I forget what else happened besides the fox and
we looked into
There was a boat.
kobolds. There was a boat. Oh, we looked into the boat, and that was attacked by cultists that were probably the same cultists that we dealt with that were working with the fish people. So we're like, fuck, more cultists. Yeah, and so we're going on to the cultist plot line.
And also, Darkford Kitsune lady gave you a message to go meet somebody.
Yes, which we haven't done yet because we were distracted by a lot of insanity.
By a specifically foxy elf.
Yeah. And there may have been a chance this character could have been cured, but Will Saves hate me, and I was addicted and very into my isolation room and ate one.
Will Saves
Yeah,
with con
like,
saves. And Marty might be planning on using the addictive berries that have a smell to them that's even addicting to poison something and then convince something to eat it. Cough, cough. Murder.
Oh man.
Marty's gonna make a fox girl.
I have
A very dead fox girl.
I have given a cursed set of items meant for memeing, and one, they accomplished their goal, but two, now the players have these cursed items that they're going to use on other people.
For murder, thank
Well,
you.
hey, one character is going to do it. I'm a little busy.
Yeah,
Look.
you're dealing with a bunch of stuff right now. It's pretty stuffy.
Marty can help you out. I can walk you through what
I don't
needs to
know.
be.
Marty's
As
just like the
I
jealous type.
said the last time Marty petted the ears, don't try it.
Wasn't gonna pet the ears, thank you. But you gotta learn about a lot of things now that you're a woman.
Oh no. That's a suspicious statement right there.
You may know Marty. Did you say Marty knows what the ladies like?
Well, this went a different
Anyway.
direction than I was thinking, that's for sure. Anyway, I played an elephant. I never forgot to kill. We killed some harpies. We went and explored around our campsite on my Sunday game. And we found some evidence of like various things, that there might be people around. It looks like there's been a lot of shipwrecks on this island. It looks like it has some kind of magical storm barrier, unfortunately. So we're like, well, we're stuck here until we can figure out how to deal with that. We ran into a nest of harpies. We murdered the crap out of them. Some of them tried to escape, and you know what we did? We did not let them go. I did things like guiding bolted one that was running away because I'm, of course, also a star druid, like in our Saturday game. So just like,
our total
and, like shot out like
human.
shot out star lasers, wielding my. Because I did not realize that the flame sword is so ridiculous as a level 2 druid spell because it's a bonus action to activate and does 3d6 damage.
So good.
Roval learned that they are not actually indeed a water orc. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Roval learned that they were
Robal's turn to have a crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've totally burnt off the flesh off the harpy, so you know the usual like. Rah! We also did learn signs of lizard man, which maybe we'll explore when we have a chance to.
Stupid squeaky chair.
Exploring. Then I had no Monday games because earlier game was canceled because of I think lack of people. Was it? I don't remember. I don't remember why early Monday was canceled necessarily.
I was super unwell that day.
That's right, you were unwell, so that's why I was like, I'm not rolling this with Worm and Jinx.
Yeah. With those two, no talking will happen.
Yeah, and Jess is
Or all the
still
talking.
MIA. And then I didn't have Pathfinder 2nd Edition because the DM had some stuff going on. And then I didn't have Vampire because we were down a couple and we really felt... And Umber wasn't feeling well. And then, like, what we needed was Umber to have a conversation with someone. But the one person we were missing who could have been there to also be in that conversation wasn't there and got, like, you know, we heard from him much later after it canceled. So, and then I didn't have Star Trek because we were going to have, like, a big scene where a character was discussing things with someone and maybe we're going to learn some more like secrets and wonders, and unfortunately that player couldn't join.
I think that player was out of town.
Secrets and wonders.
Like about like changelings and wormhole probes and things like that that are big plot points, that kind of stuff. Changelings that
Whenever
almost
someone
got
says
nuked.
probe, I think of Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
Probe away.
A changeling that almost got nuked and forced the our storyteller to use all of his like points that he has called threat in order to save it. I think he's got like 2 threat left when he starts with like 10. Yeah, he starts with like 10, and we even gave him some, and he's got like none left. It's like, well, you really can't do a lot of like extra threatening things anymore because you had to save your villain because our one character nuked him.
Yeah, they turned on the portable nuke device attached to their belt, and it shot a beam of nuclear explosions.
Yeah.
Rocket laser.
Yeah.
I mean, they just, like, did the perfect phaser shot that did, like, super maximum damage, and they already could do a lot.
I didn't make the joke I just thought of.
No jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can joke after stream.
After
Write
stream.
it down.
And then we had Carrion Crown, where it was pretty much introduced 2 new characters and start on the next leg of the adventure, which is the last part of the Broken Moon book, where you're heading to the cursed town of Feldegru, which has become a bastion of the Whispering Way, but it's also under the attack by the Giseldans, the Demon Wolves, and also has some Princess Wolves who are probably hanging out and not involved in the combat because they are just like normal dudes, werewolf dudes that may have a couple of levels of rogue and are just like, fuck this shit, we're rogues. What the fuck are we gonna do against this shit? Horrible demon wolves that tend to be fighters / anti-paladins versus, undead armies.
I might not be a good character anymore, so they cannot smite good on me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So suck on that. I was playing a good character. Boy, did Pathfinder teach me the flaws of playing a good character with, at will, murder good characters. It's AoE. You like that?
True neutral.
I mean, that really is like the only time I think that would ever come up that it would be that bad. Because most of the time it's just like...
so bad.
Most of the time it's just like a cleric that's just got like, well, I can cast it once. I murdered you partially. Haha, now I have to cast another spell.
At will, like, just destroy good.
Like Unholy Blight, I think it is. That was at will.
Oh, it was so bad. It's like, it hurt the other party a lot because it's AoE. I almost died.
Yeah,
One attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bulked up.
Yeah, it was really, really bad.
Yep.
We also had the DM's computer explode.
Yes.
It did
Which
briefly explode.
stopped the game.
I don't, like, it was a weird thing that happened. It was like, not everything's shut down. It's certain programs just stopped working, and it was weird issue. Restarting it fixed it.
Oh,
I thought maybe afterwards it might have been because beforehand I had switched back to the Windows Defender off of Avast because you people were like, Windows Defender works really good right now and Avast sucks, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll switch those off, and maybe something to do with switching them caused an issue.
Vast got angry that you tried to get rid of it.
Because I hadn't restarted the system after like uninstalling anything, and I guess maybe like just to make sure.
God damn it!
Look, I did it like 3 minutes before we started.
That's a very Tangis thing. At least you
Rule
didn't
1:
do
if
it,
you're uninstalling programs and you have something important to do, restart before it.
at least you didn't do it an hour into
I will
the
blame
system.
that for the issues. Though again, like Firefox has been a little buggy for me lately.
Could have
So-
actually just been like anything.
It could have
I
been
mean, we had a
both.
lot of good RP.
Yeah,
I should probably go through these sometime and make sure that Avast is cleaned out and Windows Defender's on
make sure
properly.
that's good and good to go. That was carrying Crown.
That was
I've
Carrion
already
Crown.
talked about the Wednesday game that I had.
Yeah.
It sucked. We fought a really super high level CR-14 angel creature that had the ability to just fly around and murder everyone indiscriminately, but it really felt like the DM was just like, I don't want everyone to die here, so they just leave instead of murdering all you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the rest of what happened.
Fair.
I don't know if anybody else had a game on Thursday then, but I
had one I don't want to talk about.
okay, we'll
There
leave
you
it at that.
go.
Things happened. They were probably not good. I'm gonna assume
You
that.
also had a Thursday game,
I
right?
did. I actually
tell
had.
you after the stream.
I had D&D on Thursday. I had Children of Wrath, in which the Weatherlight showed up, and it's a little harder to play those characters because they're a little bit more established than some of the other NPCs. But I think I did a pretty decent job of being like, the mage is like very like happy, like he wants to prove himself, and he's very like friendly but a little quiet. The like vampire that's been given like the blessings of Sarah to allow himself to work in the day is like broody because, you know, he's still cursed and like fighting with the fact that he's a vampire, you know. The one lady didn't show up much. Joyra is kind of just energetic about everything, even though she's lived for a bajillion fuck years.
Streamcat.
Hi. Tefri's a little broody but serious. You know, I think I played them pretty well, you know. And also, apparently, like, a whole bunch of Planeswalkers might have to show up because they've... Yes.
That's fine.
You know, the Gatewatch will probably show up for a cameo and be like, hey, you guys fucked up. We'll take care of this stuff here. And they're like, okay, we're going to go off on our own back to our normal adventures. Thank you for your help. For our fuck-up portion
that's
of the
very much that group.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, bad stuff happened. Well, whatever. That's not our problem.
It's like, this is like, well, we can't deal with this stuff. What are we going to do? Well, we can talk to the college. The college are like, well, we can contact some people that can help. And they're like, great, please do that. And then, like, the people showed up and like, well, we can sort of deal with some of these problems, but we're going to need to contact some more people. And they're like, once again, great, please do that. And they're like, hey, you guys have taken care of this problem? Great, let's go off on our normal adventure again.
Yeah, that's
right.
just your party.
That checks.
This is the party in a nutshell, is that, oh god, we caused some problems. Can someone else help us, please? Great! We don't have to do it.
Please don't make me face the consequences of my actions.
Yes. That is avoiding consequences for actions a lot.
I kind of wonder that my brain just shut off. I had the thought, and then I was like, I want to interject. And then the thought's just like, no. You don't have any.
Is it something about consequences of actions because they sort of learn but don't often?
Well, I mean, I've already had that discussion with you before. It's the players having the ability to do things in the story that they're in. It kind of feels like, and I don't know, because I mean, I'm just a viewer at this, right? I'm not in that game. I'm not Tantus secretly. But it kind of feels like in that game, a lot of the stuff that they encounter, either they screw up or they don't know how to deal with it, and so they end up not being able to resolve a conflict that they either caused themselves or stumbled onto. Is that wrong, or is that...
To a degree. Some things they have resolved. Like, I can say, like, the horrible worm monster that was like a weird hive mind creature that was attacking Carrie's village. They dealt with it. They had Maxwell go and mind mess with it and convince it to not be aggressive and go back to bed. Granted, that led to other issues because now there is probably some individuals that think Maxwell's not a real skeleton, or if he is a skeleton, he's technically a polymorph skeleton of some kind of horrible ancient dragon which has supposedly died off.
No, that's probably not right.
You know, basically the non-planeswalker version of Nicol Bolas, because it was another one of his elder dragon siblings.
I thought you were going to say like Nico Bellic or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's go bowling!
Let's go bowling and then murder people with dragon breath.
With the bowling balls!
Oh, look, poor humans, let me step on them. Yeah, this is great. They're bugs.
They love it!
They love it! Look at them. Let me just... Wait, I got one stuck on my foot. Oh, these are a little gross. Let me just... Ooh. Let me scrape it off. Let me scrape it off. Just scrape it off.
No more fun. Let us go to New Bowling now.
Anyway. But, you know, there has been consequences that, yes, they've passed off the buck to. I feel like there are things in this building they could have resolved very differently. I pressed them with a lot of very interesting and weird stuff, and I wanted to see how they kind of reacted to it. They reacted in actually probably the most reasonable and responsible way they could in 95% of the things. The only thing that ended up being less responsible is Carrie's adventures in the Horrible Witch.
Yeah, but that's Carrie.
Heard tell of those.
I mean, she did sort of learn a lesson in saying, like, not anymore, but, like...
We'll see how long
It
that
wasn't
lasts.
great reasons for the not anymore. It felt like a lot of, like, I'm angry for what happened. I'm going to say not anymore because of that. Not because it's technically your fault. You know? Because the
We'll
witch...
see how long that
warned
lasts.
her. Anyway, I don't know if I'll have the witch show up again. I was going to have her kind of show up and, like, haunt Carrie because she's going to be, like...
You 100% need to have that witch show up.
because
and
she's gonna be
summon a bunch of stuff, cackle madly, and be like, "More gifts," and then just leave.
because this is the way to describe what she looks like: an incredibly sexy hot woman whose arms are completely skeletal and who's got a pair of skeletal wings and can fly around and hover with them.
Nice.
And probably
Yeah,
like
she's
an incredibly pale
crazy.
skin. Yeah, so she's kind of some kind of weird like fairy lich.
Yeah,
That's fine.
she's great.
Yum.
Have her show up again and be insane, and then
I mean,
leave.
by the time she's technically showing up, she'll have stolen the skin of people.
Just show
Hell
arms.
yeah.
So somewhere
Anyway.
there would have been serial killing of like a lot of people mysteriously disappearing, and maybe corpses being found without skin.
This is fine. Everything's fine.
But it's far
Yeah,
enough
it's
away
fine.
they probably
Fine.
won't look
Everything's
into it.
Nothing's burning.
I know what country it's in, and they're probably not going to go there, so it's okay.
Yeah, you say that, but as the DM, you can change everything.
Only if I
Just-
need to. So far,
Just
no.
for the memes.
Look, I've got 2 story beats left over after this. 1, go and get Maxwell some skin, and 2, go to Urborg, and that's all I got right now.
Maybe Maxwell needs to talk to the Fey Lich lady and get some skin. Just
Look,
around slightly used
Maxwell
skin.
needs to use Nim's gift, which you have to remember
No,
he's got.
no.
No,
That's too easy.
that's too easy because no. That doesn't give him skin. That does something else. That'd be hilarious if he uses it.
I like him joining with the witch and getting the skin suit.
Okay. The magic item I gave Maxwell, because he's never going to watch this episode to know about it, I don't think he's going to lurk, is an item that was created by a wizard in order to basically have a child with a creature he was not compatible with. They're magic items that can make one of them with child
Like a
magically. He is a skeleton. He could have a kid with the merfolk.
But what if he carries the child? It doesn't specify by what you just said.
It doesn't, but I think he's probably going to give the other component of it to Latula, which would make it that way work. Otherwise, it's weird, and it's a magical experiment that I think... It's one of those things, it's like, someone made this? I don't think a lot of people use it, because it's weird.
It does sound... I mean, there's always the old-fashioned way, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it was probably prayed for more practical materials for, like, my joke is, I think it was a kobold and, like, a large minotaur. So they were certainly not
no.
physically compatible, where the woman was the tiny one.
And she wanted some beefy cow lizard babies?
Well,
Anyway,
Moving
that's enough
on.
about that game.
That's weird. No.
look,
Mm.
love
Oh.
finds a way.
Talk
Get
about
out
the
here,
Friday
Deathblow
game.
Get out of here.
Talk about the
That's
Friday
hard.
game.
Right,
Goldblum.
Friday game happened. The party,
Batch of Goldblum.
the parties continued their way through this dungeon, and encountered some more absolutely disgusting monsters that are real gross to look at. People who played 3.5, do you remember skin kites?
Oh, yeah.
I brought
We
those
fought
back.
those.
Yeah, they're real gross. So
I like
the party
flapping skin.
fought some of those, explored a bit, and then the Piper showed up, or the reskin of the Piper showed up. But interesting thing, remember in our Carrion Crown where we hit the point where the Piper couldn't do anything in combat, and we just were like, "You kill it."
Mhm.
That happened in my game. The Piper ran out of things it could do, So it was just sitting there looking at them. And then
I had to play 2 characters.
Yeah, Lightning had to play a barbarian and a rogue.
Yeah, yep. The barbarian took me a second because it's like I've never played them before, but I've had them in games, so I kind of understand how they work.
Yeah. Also, there were all those cursed items that you can find in the one little small cubby.
Yeah.
I rolled to see which ones were gonna be cursed because I didn't want to give everyone a cursed item.
Yeah,
That felt rude. The hand axe that deals like 8 damage to your neck if you hold it. The lowest HP party member was like, I want this, and woke up with gashes on his neck and took 8 damage. He's at half health. No.
Did they heal themselves?
No.
Oh. Well, we better go upstairs and deal with that scenario.
Yep.
We also fought some gooey goat.
Yeah, you fought some ectoplasmic humans that I forgot to rename and then named Gooey Zombie Boy.
Yeah.
Now you're level 3.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think something else happened for me exclusively. I don't know.
Oh
if
yeah.
anybody else had
A
anything.
secret thing happened for you, but in case someone from the game watches the show, I don't want to say it.
Yeah. I can talk about it after the stream.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Everything's fine.
That was my game. They hit things in that session for one.
I honestly though, I was totally fine with this. I mentioned it like twice now to you because like it seemed like you were like a little bummed that we didn't like get an RP or whatever. I was 100% fine with just
bummed that it was like it was
things.
an all combat session, which does happen. Sometimes combat takes a while.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't as bad as the flying skulls.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as this fucking skull.
We actually got something done.
Which I may have altered the stat block to have them have lower AC.
We couldn't hit them. They had like a 15 or 16
Yeah,
AC.
15
and we're
AC. I
level
was like,
2.
you should be fine, probably.
level
And now
2.
they're like 13 AC.
That's way too much AC for level 2 characters. There's like
But yeah,
13 or 14 most.
Yeah, it happened. That's technically what they were set in the conversion I'm using, by the way, was 15.
That's too high.
Yeah. So I was like, sure. And then I've changed them to be lower if they show up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my game.
Put them in a church that gets set on fire. We have to spend a bunch of rounds putting the fire out.
Yeah.
I'll cast Create Water and just flood the place for my entire...
But yeah, that was my game. Less chaos that session.
Yeah, mostly just murder, which was fine. Honestly, my brain needed the break.
Fair.
Yeah, so that's our week in gaming. I think that's probably a pretty good place to leave it off there. We've had I think we talked about...
We've been here for 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Yeah, this has been too long.
This video will be a lot less than that.
It'll be about an hour and 42 minutes. So you'll have a good chunk of video. It's just going to be missing an hour. Anyway. Cough, cough. Cough, cough.
It's time for food.
Thank you for joining me, everybody. Thank you, Umber. Thank you, Momo. Thank you, Lightning. I hope all of you check out their stuff whenever you can, etc., etc. All the links they got are in my games, which they're in, except for Lightning.
I'm not in anything.
I think when you were in Grinding Gears. If you want to go look back, there might be a link in Grinding Gears. I don't remember.
No. I mean, I technically have a channel, but I haven't streamed in like 6 months.
I feel that.
What?
As for myself, maybe streaming tomorrow. I don't know. I'll see what I feel like. It's like if I had like actually gotten proper sleep or something today, I probably would stream today. Gotta be honest, but I didn't.
You have a game to be a small child in, not actually a child.
Protect the metaphorical child.
Yeah. So we'll worry about it. So anyway, I'm heading off. These folks are heading off. Have a good rest of your Saturday. Maybe see you tomorrow, etc., etc. Hopefully see you next week. Yep. Until next time, farewell, everybody. Goodbye.